How to stop overthinking every single thing you say and do. Have you ever sent a simple message to someone, then looked at your phone 5 minutes later and thought, why did I say it like that? You replay the conversation. You analyze every word. You wonder if your joke sounded strange. You remember the expression on someone's face. Then your mind creates a dozen possible explanations. Maybe they were offended. Maybe they think you're weird. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you should have said something completely different. And suddenly, a conversation that lasted 30 seconds has occupied your mind for the next 3 hours. This is overthinking. And the strange thing is, your brain often believes it is helping you. But what if the very habit you're using to protect yourself is actually making you more anxious and less confident? Let's explore how to break that cycle. Imagine your brain is like a security guard. Its job is to look for problems. If something goes wrong, it wants to understand why. That can be useful. You make a mistake at school or work, think about what happened, and learn from it. The problem begins when your brain doesn't know when to stop. Instead of asking, what can I learn from this? It keeps asking, what if something goes wrong? Again, and again, and again. You aren't solving a problem anymore. You're simply replaying it. The first thing to understand is that thinking and overthinking are not the same thing. Thinking moves toward an answer. Overthinking often moves in circles. For example, I made a mistake. What can I do differently next time? That's useful thinking. But why did I make that mistake? What did they think? Did they notice? What if they tell someone? What if everyone thinks I'm bad at this? That's a mental loop. And the loop can continue forever because there is no new information coming in. You're trying to solve uncertainty with more imagination. So what can you do? Start with one simple question. Can I actually do something about this right now? If the answer is yes, identify one small action. If you said something unclear to someone, you can clarify it. If you made a mistake, you can correct it. If you need to prepare for tomorrow, you can prepare. But if the situation is already finished and there is nothing you can change, continuing to analyze it probably won't improve the outcome. Sometimes the healthiest decision is simply, I've done what I can. Now I'm moving on. The second secret is learning to accept uncertainty. This is difficult because the brain loves certainty. It wants to know, do they like me? Did I make a good impression? Will everything work out? But life doesn't provide perfect answers. You cannot control what everyone thinks about you. You cannot predict every outcome. And you don't need to. Instead of saying, I need to know exactly what they think, try saying, I don't know what they think, and I can handle not knowing. That's a powerful shift. You aren't trying to eliminate uncertainty. You're becoming comfortable with it. Another important habit is to stop treating every thought as a fact. Your brain might say, they didn't reply because they're angry with me. But that's a thought. It isn't proof. Maybe they're busy. Maybe their phone is turned off. Maybe they saw the message and forgot to respond. Maybe they simply don't know what to say. There are dozens of possibilities. Overthinking often takes one possibility and turns it into a certainty. So when your mind tells you a story, pause and ask, what evidence do I actually have? That question can create space between reality and imagination. Now let's talk about conversations. Many people replay conversations because they want to avoid embarrassment. But here's something important. Most people are thinking about themselves too. They're worrying about their own words, their own appearance, their own mistakes, their own problems. You may spend 20 minutes thinking about something you said, while the other person may have forgotten it 5 minutes later. This doesn't mean your actions don't matter. It means you probably don't need to assume that everyone is constantly analyzing you. You're not the main character in everyone else's thoughts. And strangely, that can be incredibly freeing. Another powerful strategy is giving yourself permission to make small mistakes. You don't have to say everything perfectly. You don't have to respond perfectly. You don't have to make every decision perfectly. Imagine trying to walk while checking every step. You would become stiff and uncomfortable. But when you trust yourself, walking becomes automatic. Conversation can work the same way. Instead of trying to produce the perfect sentence, focus on the person you're talking to. Listen. Respond naturally. Let the conversation happen. You don't need to monitor yourself every second. You can also create a simple thinking limit. If something is genuinely important, give yourself a specific amount of time to think about it. Maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Write down. What happened? What can I control? What can I learn? What is my next step? Then stop. This teaches your brain that thinking has a purpose. It isn't allowed to keep running endlessly. And when your mind starts replaying an old situation at night, don't fight the thought aggressively. You can simply notice it. There is that thought again. Take a slow breath. Return your attention to what you're doing. The goal isn't to force your mind to become completely empty. The goal is to stop following every thought wherever it wants to go. Thoughts can appear and disappear. You don't have to investigate all of them. Perhaps the biggest change happens when you stop trying to build a perfect version of yourself. A person who never says the wrong thing, never makes mistakes, never disappoints anyone, never feels awkward. That person doesn't exist. Trying to become perfect creates endless opportunities for your brain to find something wrong. Instead, aim to become someone who can handle imperfection. Someone who can say, I made a mistake. I misunderstood. I didn't explain that well. And that's okay. I'll learn from it. Confidence isn't believing you'll never make mistakes. Confidence is believing you'll be able to handle them when you do. So the next time you catch yourself replaying something you said, pause. Ask, can I change anything about this right now? If you can, take one useful action. If you can't, let the moment stay in the past. You don't need to solve every uncertainty. You don't need to understand what everyone thinks. You don't need to perform perfectly. And you don't need to win every conversation. Life is not a test where every sentence receives a score. Sometimes you can simply live. Speak. Learn. Make mistakes. Laugh. Try again. And move forward. Because the goal isn't to stop thinking. The goal is to stop letting every thought control where your attention goes. And perhaps one day you'll finish a conversation. Put your phone down. And instead of asking, did I say the perfect thing? You'll simply think, it's okay. I was myself. And now I can move on.